I want to check out one of Billie Eilish's newer songs with you called CHIHIRO, which, if I'm understanding correctly, is in Japanese means 1,000 questions, 1,000 fathoms. It's perfect for you.
Ah, she's like singing out of my soul. Sometimes we get lost in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize.
So we'll see if this is what fits with what she's going to be singing about. Billie Eilish, very famous, very popular, amazing artist. Let's see what she does here.
To take my love away. When I come back around, will I know what to say? Said you won't forget my name. Not today, not tomorrow. Kinda strange, feeling sorrow.
A lot of her songs and a lot of the way she tackles singing is that airiness, that breathiness, almost like a subtle muffledness, very feminine, very sweet. The interesting thing is I've seen clips where she demonstrated how she taps into some of that or how she chose to sing a certain phrase a certain way. And it's interesting because she demonstrated a couple of variations which showcased how she can actually sing, like her vocal range and what she can actually do with her voice. So some of that airiness and that is intentional, and it adds to her brand. I feel like just we know Billie Eilish for that unique timbre and texture in her voice, for the very unique compositions. It's pretty interesting.
I got change. You could borrow. When I come back
That
around,
funky beat.
what to say? Not today. Maybe tomorrow.
Almost like spoken word sometimes.
Open up the door. Can you open up the door? I know you said before you can't cope with anymore. You told me it was war. Said you'd show me what's in store. I hope it's not for sure. Can you open up the door? Did you take my love away?
It's interesting because the rhyme schemes here are very simple, right? Open up for sure, door. I don't know anymore. But the beat is so catchy and her voice just so eerie. I think a lot of people, especially the younger generation, even though the musical composition isn't complex at all, just love that, just chill vibe and, different ways to take those lyrics. Is this, especially because the title is Chihiro and it talks about all these questions and all these concepts, if I'm understanding this term correctly. What are we talking about here? Relationship where there's all these dynamics, 1,000 different ways to look at things. This weird dance and struggle between love and boundaries and not today, maybe tomorrow, not really knowing what's up. I could see a lot of young people relating to this when they're in the season of life where you don't know who the heck you are, what you want to do. Your relationships are kind of up and down and back and forth. Is this what this song represents to people? I love that. Ooh. That switch was dope of them fighting and it switching over and she's alone by herself now. Kind of so fast that it would have been hard for him to walk out of the room, so he just kind of is gone. Cool contrast of that duality between fighting with herself, internal, external struggles, relationship. The lyrics and the vocalization here is beautiful, very angelic. Did you take your love away from me?
Saw you seated at the counter when I looked away. Saw you turn around, but it wasn't your face. Said I need to be alone now. I'm taking a break. How come when I returned you were
Taking a break, relational topics. Okay, this is powerful. That almost Stranger Things like vibe, that retro, the organ like echo that's now happening, the drums, the crescendo kicking in the musical compositions. Her vocalization getting more intense now. I don't know why I called that echoing and the layering to now seeing the scene cutting to them fighting and getting physical, right? Her coming after him, trying to find him in the building. They're lost, trying to find to each other, but it all ends up in fights. And I think a lot of that's relatable in relationship. We're trying to reconnect, you're trying to find back to each other, but it constantly ends up in strife, fighting, and arguments to the point of potential escalation now with physical aggression coming in play. Did she just smile? The way they just ran together almost looked like a smile. This is really catchy. The dark hallways, the shadow in the hallways, and that fighting where it got really dark and they went from aggression to being really close to each other. Now running, laughing hand in hand to now leaving the building into the sunlight. Great portrayal of that dichotomy of dark and light, turmoil in a relationship, running together, laughing into the light. Duality between dark and light, ups and downs, hardships and joy, really puts in words or puts in music and art very well the idea you find in relationships and human interactions, not just romantic, friendships and so on and so forth. But even that word CHIHIRO, meaning wise questions, excellent questions, or as some would say here, that it talks about for a strong friendship that's broken, perhaps leaving us with 1,000 questions, with these 1,000 concepts and question marks in our mind, because relationships are complicated. It really is hard to pinpoint one single thing that went awry or what happened. It feels chaotic right now. The camera on the bridge, on the floor, in the sky. It's all over the place.
And that's when you found me. I was waiting in the garden, contemplating, beg your pardon, but there's a part of me that recognizes you.
Okay, super big switch here. The chaos of the camera all over the place. Again, perhaps maybe that concept of CHIHIRO, the 1,000 questions, there's so much confusion trying to grasp things, to now the camera on her outside of the building, grinning, smiling, almost playful and flirtatious, playing with her hair, right? You see Billie really growing into this grown woman. She's not a little girl anymore. Different hair color. In her cool outfit, just chilling, doing her thing, but she's engaging with the camera in a playful way. And now the lyrics speak of, I noticed you. Earlier it spoke of, I returned, you said we need a break or something like that. I returned and I couldn't find you anymore. I don't even recognize you anymore. And now it switches to, I recognized you. That's how it all started. It started with love. It started with, we saw each other, we were playful, and, I see you, you see me. And again, just those thousands of elements you find in human interaction of love and hate and joy and infatuation, desire, confusion, disdain, and hate. I already said hate. Interesting picture.
Do you feel it too? When you told me it was serious, were you serious? They told me they were only curious, now it's serious. Open up the door, can you open up the door? I know you said before you can't cope with anymore. It told me it was war, said you'd show me what's in store. I hope it's not for sure. Can you open up the door?
Again, interesting switch here. Playful, speaking of how it all started, recognizing each other, going from curiosity to it being serious, but perhaps here a double entendre, not only on when a relationship goes serious in the sense of what are we dating, are we together, you take it to a serious relationship, but maybe a double entendre and play also on it's getting serious because things are getting hostile. This is not good anymore. They're getting physically violent. Earlier running together, fighting in the hallway. Now it's almost like this time traveling, different places in time of a relationship, to now her slowly walking away, increasing her step to a run, as if to run away from him. That's what I'm perceiving. Maybe trying to escape a relationship or abuse, something that's dangerous and serious. Is it dangerous? Is it playful? Mm. This is getting heavy, y'all. That, I wasn't sure for a split second if it was a playful chasing and now he tackles her and it's a loving falling to the ground, but it feels and looks very violent. And the way that things are getting dark, again, that Stranger Things retro vibe is eerie. But now even the wording in the lyrics, wringing my hands in my lap. Usually when people wring their hands, it's a sign of anxiety and stress, talking about it's all been a trap, right? Sometimes when you're in a toxic relationship and there's different theories out there on, how people that have toxic behavioral patterns tend to either love bomb you or pull you in with all the infatuation, and now it's a trap. Now you're falling for it, or they end up being narcissistic or having some type of personality disorder. There's a very dark and eerie feeling here, but it also makes me think, and this is why, ladies, you need to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Being in a position like that, there's ways to get out of that. Learn Jiu-Jitsu. Go check out the Independent MMA and Fitness if you're interested, and go learn how to whoop some butt. Side note. But seeing that position of helplessness and it just feeling very violent is this dangerous. Dude, Billie, that final moment when he pulled her back up and she smiles, messing with my head, because now it's like maybe this was just a playful rolling, because I've done that, right? You're wrestling playfully and it gets kind of intense because you want to win, you don't want to be submitted, you want to submit. But now she's smiling in the end and it felt abusive. It didn't look like just a playful rolling around. It felt like she was in danger or this was a very unhealthy point of a relationship. But now ending up with laughing and smiling again. And that is psychologically just very profound, this song, because it makes you wonder, are these different points in time of a relationship that went from beautiful and fun to serious and dangerous? Or is there something wrong with him or her in regards to the obsession and this tendency to lack boundaries? Because in the beginning, the lyrics talk about, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. Can you let me in the door? Let me in. So it's almost like she's singing from the perspective of somebody that has some type of toxic patterns, that lacks understanding boundaries, that is maybe intrusive and obsessive and, oh, let me in. I want to be with you. Ooh. Or is she singing about someone and in the music video, it's him that is chasing her, him that is being abusive to her? Or is it her? Or is it both, right? Relationships are complicated like that. That's kind of this idea to me of CHIHIRO, 1,000 questions. It leaves me with 1,000 questions, but is it, him that is the abusive one? Is it her that is pushy and abusive and toxic, running around the building looking for him? She eventually came after him and got physical first. Is it her who is going, let me in, and not understanding boundaries and what healthy love looks like? But then again, he's the one chasing her suddenly as she's walking randomly down the field. 1,000 pieces that make you go, what is happening? Nonetheless, painting a very powerful picture on how complex relationships are. That it's not just black and white. That it's not just he did this first and then she did this, so she's justified, or vice versa. Or if she wouldn't have, then he wouldn't have. Relationships are complicated. And so this is a very interesting way to tackle that topic. Very interesting. Sheesh. What do you guys think? What does this song mean to you? What did you think with the first time you saw it? What do you think about the composition and that vibe? Let me know. I'll see you on the next ride. Ayo!